I'm gonna try not to cuss.
All right, I hit record.
Hi, and welcome to my class. I am Aleonna of Golden Plains, and I am going to show people how to make a basic book that's just leather bound, no hard. It's just very soft cover. There is a couple of supplies you're going to want. First is paper. You're going to want a pencil. You're going to want a ruler that is applicable to your size. I have multiple, including a very, very large one, because you never know what you may need to measure. I like to be over prepared. This is I can't remember the actual formal name, but it is a piece of bone that is used for smoothing paper. You do not need to use this.
It's a bone folder. That's what they're called.
Yeah. I have two of them, but you don't need this. I've literally used a pencil or a pen. But something to just kind of help smooth and make a crease, some sort of thread. You want it to be a decent quality that's going to be sturdy. Wax is usually a good recommendation because it's nice. It goes through holes smoothly, but you can also use like leather bound cord and everything. You're going to want either an awl or a thick needle. I think before I was able to find a fine enough pointed awl, because a lot of them are rather large. I was using just like a really thick needle, pair of scissors to cut your thread, and possibly for anything else trimming. If you're like me and you like to give blood to the blood gods and accidentally stab yourself with needles and stuff like that, I recommend either a thimble or something like this to prevent that. And because I am blind and I do not have good hand-eye coordination, I also use a threader. And then if you're also like me, you can always use cheats. And then of course you're going to want the material as well as your needle, because that's good to know where it is. To back your book in, I'm going to use this nice black piece of leather, which is probably a bad choice because it has not been washed and it will probably get black ink all over my outside of pages. But we're going to do it because this was the easiest thing I have at hand and we moved. So that's easier. To start, it's always a good idea to kind of get a layout of what your book is going to look like, because planning ahead kind of helps you get a better idea of what you need. I am going to just kind of sketch out about roughly and everything. It's obviously a page. I recommend sketching it out because when you make your punks for sewing, punches, you're going to need to kind of know where you're going in, where you're going out. Sketching it out can kind of help so that you don't have to relace a number of times, and everything. So this is usually my basic page and everything. If you aren't entirely sure like what size, or it's not an easily cut size, that's, for instance, my pages are literally going to be a fourth of this size. I recommend writing that down so you don't forget. And apparently my phone is going nuts. Excuse that. For mine, I'm just going to do 4 very basic punches. So I usually sit there and will mark off about there. And then I will measure. For instance, this is about the height of what my pages are going to look like because they're going to be folded over like this. So this is about how tall my pages will be. And I have OCD as well, which does not help. And so that's not a good ruler. That's too short of a ruler. See, this is why I like multiple rulers. Like this is about 8.5 inches tall. And because I have OCD, I have to kind of even it out and whatnot. So 8.5. Basically, it's going to act as if there's a fifth punch right there. So I need to be able to divide that up between 6 quadrants. And because my brain still has not had enough caffeine, I'm going to cheat and use a calculator. Well, I haven't taken like AP and Calculus 2 with applied mathematics for computative algorithms. No. 8.5 divided by 6 is 1.41. That's not the right one. 0.65. So 5 out of 16. Okay, so basically after doing the math and everything, each one of these little things, since I like it to be even, is going to be about 1 and 6 to 7/16 of an inch in between each gap. So that'll be that. 1 and 6 7/16. This will be double that. So we're looking at 3 and no, because this is 16, not 12. 2 and 13/16. And 1 and 6 to 7/16. So that kind of helps lay that out for me. And then because of how I want my spine to look, and I'll turn this in a second so y'all can see, I want cross hatching to kind of go through right there, and then to give an extra sense of security for my book, which probably won't be thick enough for this, but it's good to kind of teach multiples. Obviously this will have to go wrong one. That's why I do it with a pencil so I can erase. So obviously if I'm doing cross hatching, it'll have to come out right here, which means this has to go in, which is part of why I like to do it out. Elsewise, I would start not really laying it out, and then I'd be like, crud, I'm doing this the wrong way. I gotta undo this. So basically, I'll end up started going in this way, coming out, going in, coming out, and everything. So to kind of show you what that looks like, that looks like that. Don't have to. You could just totally wing it, and I mean, mistakes make the best experience. I've learned to do this from my mistakes. All right, so like I said, you kind of want to know how big of a piece of paper you are working with, and how big your pages are going to be. With that, you're going to kind of be limited. I have a nice large book of sketch paper that I can sit there and I use regularly for my pages out of my books because it's a decent thickness, it's good quality. I know it's not going to be like paper thin and tear, but it's also not so thick. It's going to make my book like that thick based off of just a few pages. Excuse me. But realistically, you can make your pages out of anything. I've done it out of handmade paper. But because of the thickness, it gets a little bit of a pain in the butt. Since I already know I'm going to be just cheater, pumpkin eater, super easy, I am literally just doing it out of a fourth of this. I know that the halfway mark on this is 8.5 inches because I already pre-cut some of it, so y'all aren't sitting here watching me for 20 minutes pull pages out of my sketchbook and cut it, because who wants to watch that? Just like with cutting, I recommend measure twice, cut once. 30.5. because there have been days where my brain wasn't working. That's good. And instead of putting 8.5, I've done 7.5. See, like this one's actually off a little bit. And like I said, an OCD. This is too big for my paper cutter on this thread, so I have a cutting board thing. I forget what these are called. Which if you don't have one and you're interested in making books, I highly recommend them. You can usually get them fairly cheap when they're on sale, or if like Joann's has a 40 or 50% off coupon. Because I think like the big ones, which I keep meaning to get, are like $30. You take that down to 50% off. You're talking about one that's like twice the size for 16. And then Walmart has some fairly smaller and inexpensive ones as well. I just don't know how durable those are. Yeah, now those are cut. If you're like me and you are accident prone, store your cutting devices away so you don't accidentally cut or stab yourself. We do not like to bloody the paper unless that is an aesthetic you are going for. If you are doing your book for a set project, I recommend knowing the number of pages that you are needing. I literally just winged it because we needed somebody to make up a class in here, and I knew I could teach this. And so I literally pulled this out of my hat. With this, we don't need to cut, but I like to sit there and use this to kind of mark down because this has a nice little pressure. And I can sit there and do that, but actually, you know what? I'm a dumb nut. I don't need to do that because I'm literally just going to be folding this in half. Don't need to do that. Oh. Okay.
I got it. You're good.
You're fine. It just made a noise, so I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
All right. So normally how you would do this is you plan it out a little bit better than I have. I don't know the exact number of pages, but I know based off of feel, we're probably working with about 50, which is now, you know, I've done this about way too many times. Normally when you're doing this, you want to have selected up to so many pages for the word that I can't think of right now. Basically, it's the grouping of your pages that.
Oh my God, I just had it in my head too.
I know, right?
Chapter. Oh my God.
Like this is an example for one of my hardbound books. It's a group of pages that you end up putting together. They end up getting punched like, oh, that's good. So where you see I already had some of the holes pre-done. This one was just extra that I didn't end up going into this. And when you end up putting them together, you have little groupings. This is traditionally how books are made. For modern ones, they don't actually do that really anymore. They don't do that. They literally just shear off and stick it all to glue.
Is it signature block?
Yeah, that's the word. Signatures.
Go us.
Yes, through the power combined, we are He-Man. So like I said, I know it's about 50 and everything, so I'm just going to count out 5 pages. That'll give a total of 10 pages per signature. And I can't count. Yeah, that was 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually, I'm gonna give y'all some waiting music, but while I do most of this, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to take each signature set and you are going to very carefully fold it over and everything.
Do you need some montage music? Because I can just, you know.
Oh, I can. I'm just wanted to show this off first, and then as an example, and then we can put some montage music on overwords. This is where you would get your bone or pencil or whatever you're going to use, and you would sit there. If you have one of these, you want the curved side to be the part that presses against the paper, not the flat, because it will help smooth less crease. And sit there and do that. Depending on how regularly used your tool is, you might get a little bit of dirtiness there. If you're very OCD, I recommend just doing an extra page and then discarding that extra page. But you're going to want to flip it over and do it again. It helps ensure that they are creased evenly, and you're going to do that for every page. So while that happens, I'm going to put an earworm in your head and be just really mean. Blame Redbeard.
Now that's a fact. Listen, son. Knock you in your head with my stick.
With my stick.
You gon' have a mark from my stick. From my stick. My stick.
All right.
My stick.
I do feel like I do need to put a disclaimer. This is in no way a perverted song. This is literally bad lip reading of The Last Jedi. This is literally just Yoda talking about his actual walking stick. Please do not make a formal complaint or anything of COC violations.
Stick is better than bacon. You can't touch my stick. I don't wanna. Yeah, you want my stick. Don't you go nut with my stick. Look at my stick. You don't feel the wrath of my stick. Yeah, my stick. My stick. My stick. My stick is better than bacon. You can't touch my stick. It's just a stick. It's my perfect stick. My stick is my friend, one from a dog. Everyone can see it's better than bacon. Why'd you get so touchy in me? Look at my stick. Why'd you think that creatures make me scream? It's sick. My stick. My stick. My stick is better than bacon. You can't use my stick. It's just a stick. Don't you like my stick? It's just a stick. It's my perfect stick. My stick. Every day. Walks every day. First the food it comes down by the ocean. When they laugh at my stick, then they learn how my stick is much denser than bacon. You gonna let the little piggy run amok?
So cute.
Piggy kept breaking me up.
So cute.
What about which bird on the best birds?
So good.
Put it in the tree that circles on the words. I guess my stick is my stick. You can't pick up my stick. Keep your mitts off my stick. I disappeared for years and reappeared right here to cheer about my stick. When I was a little bitty kid, I had not yet found my mighty stick. And I did. I could break your stick, it's just my brain. My stick? I could make you wish you could feel pain. Not my stick, my stick, my stick. My stick is better than bacon. You can't touch my stick. I don't want your stick. Yeah, you want my stick. It's just a stick. It's got big bone stick. What you really, really, really do? Nobody does a good listen to on a better run. Sometimes I like how it hurts. Everybody can agree that's a lot of words. I guess my stick is plastic. You can't pick up plastic. You get some plastic. I can see it's better than bacon. My stick is my favorite plastic from the world. I can see it's better than bacon.
Yeah, I had that on a 10-hour loop. We weren't going to obviously be here for that. Yeah, so my signatures are done and folded. And then, so I will point this out for those that are of the OCD crowd because you will notice it. I honestly like it whenever it comes to the softbound books because I feel like it gives it more character. However, when I do hardbound books, it irritates the Jesus out of me because I like them to look nice and neat. So as a kind of pseudo obvious thing of when you fold paper, you have varying lengths. They're not all going to be at the same level. So when you fold them, you get this, where they are obviously coming out higher because of the levels of the paper. You're not going to get that super perfect unless you cut. That's usually where I come in with my super OCD cutter. So I can make it all nice and even in one length. But I'm not getting into that today because like I said, with softbound books, I like it. I feel like it adds character. So once you have all of them done, then we get to the oh so fun part of punching. Please be safe. Please acknowledge the fact that these things are pointy. Whether it is a needle or not, you can harm yourself. Like I've said, I've paid many tributes to the blood gods with this. If you end up getting into doing this fairly regularly, I do recommend there is a piece of equipment that basically acts like a book holder, where it very much looks like this with two pieces of wood. I keep meaning to make one. I keep forgetting. And then whenever I go and punch new pages, it's like, gosh, darn it, I could have used that. But they're kind of nice because they will hold your pages and keep them from not moving with you punch them and whatnot. Elsewise, it's just a little bit of praying or possibly damaging your pages a little bit with some freezing. That's why clamps are good. Just give them the clamps. And now I just totally want to play with a pair of tongs like I'm cooking. Y'all will have to excuse my ADHD brain. Clamps immediately makes me think of that one robot from Futurama. And which then segues into Zoidberg, and then I'm just like, whoop, 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 whoop. So yeah, I sit there and I'll hold it like that. Each segment, you're gonna want to sit there, take your measuring device. I don't want that one. I want that one because this one is nice. It's backed. It's got cork, which means it doesn't move as easily as this one does. There's my piece of paper. Okay, so like I said, each one should be about 1 6 to 7/16. When you measure, I don't usually recommend starting with the 1 inch unless you absolutely need it. Usually on most rulers, measuring tape, stuff like that, your 1 inch is actually going to be fairly inaccurate. So if you're OCD like me, I don't recommend it. Told you it was an earworm. 1 6/17. So we know that's an 8. We are looking at about it's gonna be 8, 6, 7. We're looking at there. And this is where your brain has to start working because then it's math. Unfortunately, if you are not the math friendly, I apologize. It's unfortunately part of the thing. But yeah. 1 inch from there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About here. Okay. So I have the marks in here, as you can kind of see where I'm going to punch. I recommend doing this obviously with pencil, but some people have issues seeing lighter colors. So if you do need a pen, use a pen. Work with what you got, peoples. And then we're just going to line that up in the crease, put that down, and then just kind of press. If you're not working with too thick with signature, you should be able to press fairly easily. If you're not sure, just keeping pressure on it, fold it over, and then just gently twist and turn. And you can put it through easier. I don't want people going and poking through cardboard, their little cutting mat, whatever, and then blaming me because I told you to do it. Thicker signatures, I will recommend if you don't have good hand strength, or if you're like me where you have joint pain because I have lupus. You might need a mallet. Just get it in there a little bit and then give it a good whack. Put that through. I am aware mallets are loud. And I am being recorded, so I don't want to sit there and go scaring people. Not to mention my poor wiener whiners that are surprisingly not at my feet.
If you like, I can just go bang, 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 bang. Does that help you?
No.
Helps you. Bang, bang.
Yeah, you're gonna sit there, punch holes like so. If you were fairly spot on, they should line up on the back. It does take practice if you do this a couple of times, and like I know my first ones, see if my example signature, nope, that's actually fairly spot on too. My first couple ones that I did, I would punch through right on the crease on the top, and on the back side it would be like over here. Don't sweat it if you're starting out, you know, it'll bug you a little bit. But one key to that is if you oversize your pages like so, and you're okay with trimming a little bit of it, you know, you could always recenter that one particular page or set of pages, and just make that your new center line. But now I have to do that for all the other pages, so I'm going to give you all another earworm. Dun, dun, dun. No, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I want that one. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, yes, there we go. Everybody
Download
knows
the Domino's app today and become a piece of the pie rewards never turn.
advertisement not paid.
Points toward free pizza. Here's how it works. You earn 10 points for every order of $10 or more. Once you earn 60 points, you can redeem for a free pizza. Order and join today at Domino's.com.
I really liked your falcon sketch when I was bored. I burned it.
Chopping your legs. You don't know how hard I find these bugs.
Touch my face and you'll have to cut cheese when there's bees on your sleeves.
Now I have to go to
I will point this out real quick. Nice little cheat that I have learned. If you take one of the pages that you have already measured, go and you line it up. You have those nice little holes, and you can just twist, 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 all over twist. And now I have my measuring marks. So you don't have to go measuring 20 million times.
the kids to drink powdered goat bladders.
What they want was beef and you have no puppets. You gave them all.
Doesn't matter. I don't care what you said to the man with the black head. Where is the rubber band? You're ruining my
Down the street. Just down the street.
They've got the ultimate power in the universe. For it gets better, it's getting worse. It's not a satellite, but it can light up the sky when it glows. It's red, but it's hollow. It's hollow. Oh, look at her face, she's happy as a tribble. Get my wedding suit. Boy, you don't got a clue. Girl, you're crazy cute. I'm gonna kick some bits up on your face. Yeah, alright. Do you have any bunions or lesions upon you? Let me check your feet. Why? I don't like parasites, no children of the night. A quail and his rubber beak are beautifully unique. Bleep, bloop, blow. Goodbye to you. They've got the ultimate power in the universe. And before it gets better, it's getting worse. It's not a satellite, but it can light up the sky when it it's red, but it's hollow. Death of a culture. Somewhere the culture, somewhere the culture is waiting for us in an erecting sun. Something I am. Evil comes in round shapes. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. Big Greg, we already know you're a Gemini. Yeah, but did you know that I once had a huge spider bite on my neck? Greg, you could never get down like a funky thing cause you don't live in the rhythm. This cheese is delicious and now I've gotta put a brown thing in your face. I'm tired of you, Phil. Once you get a landfill, someone make him stop. Put his bones in a bump. Cause you had a stroke. They've got the ultimate power in the universe. And before it gets better, it's getting worse. It's not a satellite, but it can light up the sky when it glows. It's red, and it's hollow. It's hollow. It's
My job doesn't offer health insurance. With the new law, I found an affordable plan. And
Yeah, for anybody who thinks that's very random, that is bad lip reading. Star Wars. Don't blame me, blame my husband. Excuse me.
Penny for your thoughts. I hate Brenda, and a bad guy hit me in the shin, and I peed all in my pants. Nothing a little music can't help. Rockin', rockin' and rollin'. Down to the beach I'm strolling. seagulls, poking my hand, not fun. I said, seagulls, stop it now. Everyone told me not to stroll on that beach. Said seagulls gonna come, put me in a coconut, and they did.
Yeah, we can figure this out later. Okay. So all of my signatures are punched. I do recommend it and kind of just giving it a pinch. You don't need to really recrease it to kind of flatten them back down. Now comes the fun sewing part. So like I said, you want a thread and everything. I am lucky to have a variety of them. If you get into this, you can actually find bookbinding kits online. But this is like what I started out with. It is just a very like thick coat and floats, all purpose, heavy duty thread. Like it's fairly thick. It's not like your normal thread. But if in a pinch, you know, you can use it. The problem you're going to run into with thinner threads is it will cut through and tear through paper a lot easier. So you generally want something that's a bit more thick. You can even use hemp twine, stuff like that, and everything. You can just pull a set of string and just wing it and hope to God you have enough. I recommend, because we have our measurements, going ahead and calculating approximately how much string you are going to need. I know that I have 5 signatures and everything. It is going to, and actually I was pretty close. This is a total of 48 pages. I have 5 sets. It is going to crisscross through a total of 5 times because of that. So I'm going to need at least 5 times minimum of string of about that length. I recommend usually giving yourself about 1 extra signature's worth, because 1, you're having to account for the width of it and everything. Not to mention it's going to expend a little bit going through each signature. 6 usually gives me plenty. So if I'm having to calculate out, let's see, that's basically what, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 1, and we'll say 7/16, and then times that by 5. So we basically get 20 by 1, 7/16. Again, because we are gifted with the age of technology and my brain does not want to work right now. 7 divided by 16 plus 1, that gives me 1.4375 times 20, 28 inches and 3/4. So I'll just round it to 29. I have my big meter stick, and because I have a big meter stick, and my stick is better than bacon. I have 29 inches right there. My scissors are right here, because I like to stab myself unintentionally. I have a guard on there. Yes, I know. I'm very accident prone though. Snip, snip. Wrap your string back up so it doesn't unravel. See if it goes back in the freaking sleeve. And, I mean, you can choose whatever color of thread you want. I do recommend having to be slightly contrasting from your material that you're going to be making your cover out of and whatnot, just because you want to be able to see it. If you're not good with seeing color differentiations, which depending on my lighting, I am not, you're gonna want a good contrast. I chose it because we are working with black, and I felt the good contrast was nice. Not to mention it'll show up better on camera. Excuse me. The next part before we get to threading is we need to know how big of a piece. So I know that this is about a half-ish tall. Start with the 1. So yeah, 8.5 inches tall. It is 8 inches wide. Or almost square. And then the question is, do you want it to overhang a little? Do you want it to wrap? Everybody is a little bit different. I'm just doing a basic book, so I'm just going to have it be a little bit taller than 8.5 inches. We'll probably cut it to about 8 3/4. And because you also have to make sure you are accounting for the width and everything, you are going to want to have a little bit wider, obviously, than just double the width of your page. I'm going to give it an extra inch because I know that is obviously not an inch, and that'll give me a little lip to overhang on this end as well to kind of protect the pages. So we'll do 8, 1, 8, total of 17. If you can do basic math, if you have trouble with math and you feel that was insulting, I apologize. And then if you're working with leather or fabric, they look about the same. Choose the side you want to work on. This side's a bit smoother, so I want that to be my actual cover. There's a cut right there. That shouldn't interfere though. You're gonna want a writing utensil. Depending on your utensil that you are using, you are going to want something that you can see. Thankfully, I can see graphite on black. Don't ask me why. Sometimes I can't, but I can't. You want to kind of get a good generalized method, and actually, I have something that will make this easier. I don't know where they are. Hello. I'm assuming now. If not, it's well. I normally have one in my box, but I think it got pulled out to be used for something and it never got put back in. These things happen. I know we're working with about 9 inches. That's about 1-ish. Remember, be careful when using and not losing your vision with your glasses. To use that first inch, be careful. So now from there to 10, I do know that is 9 inches. I'm going to just kind of work off that. I do recommend, if you do not have, I can't really remember what they're called, it's a measuring stick that is shaped like an L. If you don't have something like that, use something that has a good 90-degree cut that is strong enough to sit there and withstand being held against. I thankfully do. There's that marking. And use that marking so I can line that up right there because I'm OCD, which means I can then line that up about right there. Push that over, and that should form a 90-degree angle. And because I have 2 lines, I should be able, if I hadn't lost my first line. This is why it's important to have contrasting colors. There's my first, Unfortunately, there's like little fabric pieces on here, so I can't tell. And I get to do it again. Ew, mew. So line up that one and line up that one. Make that one a little bit bolder. At the top, line up, line up. And that should go across like that. Next, about 10 and a half. We're looking at 17, so about 20. Oh my gosh. There's something under right there. That is fine. Line that up, make sure I have a nice square angle. Where's that there now? You'll be able to see both. Great. I usually have a rotary cutter, but like I said, we've moved recently, so I don't know where it currently is and everything. So I will be cutting this with an X-Acto knife and hoping to God I don't cut off a finger. Make sure if you are cutting a decently long piece, if you have a cutting mat or surface that you are working on, that you have both ends at 2E. All right, so this is not long enough, so we're gonna have to move it. So we are going to do this. I totally did not just lose my markings again. That's the 7th one, so it should be. See, I talked all that game about me being able to see graphite on black, and now I can't. That works. Dun, 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 dun. Can't touch this. Try this again. Oh, it really is on the ground. And I threw it on the ground. Line up, line up. I'm a turd. I did not mean to move my big mirror stick. There and here. Line that up. about 7 and 17. So yeah, about 24, about 25 to the safe side. Nice part about the fact that I have this here is I can just go ahead because I have that mark and I have that mark.
I do want to warn you, this is the 10-minute break.
Yeah,
It's
I've noticed I'm getting
but there's
to.
just lunch after this, so if you want to keep going, you just keep on going. So don't worry about it.
Well, thankfully, most of the long work is done. Sewing usually doesn't take that much for me. We got 2 of our lines. Find your stabby, cutty, pointy. And if you want to do scissors, you can use scissors, but you need to make sure it can cut it. Not many scissors can. I want the two-sided one. And out of my scissors that can, I'm not going to go wasting my fabric scissors on leather because that just folds them. Line up, make sure I have room. We're going to stick to that outer edge. I recommend, I'm not sure, making a couple of passes and then test it. That's like practically nails on a chalkboard. There we go. Not all the way down quite yet. Okay. Remember, guys, they've got the ultimate power in the universe. Before it gets better, it's going to get worse. Almost. There we go. Okay. That side is done. That side. I did this so that I wanted to be cutting on the outside of my lines because it was a little bit away. So we're going to flip that over. Curse because my line slightly went away with me messing with it. It really is just kind of a nail on the chalkboard sound. I miss my rotary cutter. Should. I didn't. Thought I broke my X-Acto knife. Since I did not make sure I had a 90-degree angle with that cut, we're going to lay my pads of watercolors, media boards down, and I'm just going to use this as my guide. Activate. I did not go all the way down. Downside of working with soft is it will move, it will shift. Your corners may not be exactly perfect. It may not be exactly straight. These things happen. Lovely. Success! You have cut out to cover. Achievement unlocked. Again, sheath your pointy cutting devices. Here. There we go. Somehow I have the game minimized. Right. Double check. Apparently I cut this up too long. These things happen. That is what trimming is for. I'm going to trim off about that much. But because I have approximately a 90-degree angle, I could just do that. And then smooth that out, lay that down, line that up, and unsheath my cutting device. And if I could cut a straight line, Jesus. Now you have cut out successfully a cover. Achievement realized. Out. So this is my insight. These are my signatures. We have not that piece of string. We have a piece of string somewhere. Emphasis on me somewhere. Somewhere. I legit no clue where I put that fucking string. Can I just like wrap it up around? Oh, I didn't. Well, I'm gonna have to look for that later, so my cats don't need it. But let's cut new string. Oh, found the string. It was at my feet, blending in with my tile. Take your threading device. And nope, of course now I've got to off my needle. There it is. Ugh. Fight with the thread to come through because it's thick. Hopefully you don't destroy your piece. Okay, so if you remember, because I planned all of this out, I said that I'm gonna wanna go in from the outside, in, out, in, out. So I know which way that this is supposed to go. So with hardcovers, it is a little bit different than it is with soft covers. Normally you would sit there and kind of like plot out how wide you need your strip to be. You can with leather and soft covers. It just gets a little bit harder if you're incorporating this like I'm going to into the back, because obviously it's going to compress. It's not going to perfectly compress though, because it's still going to have some room, because you need to be able to turn pages without the spine being super pinched. Also causes pages to tear. So I am literally going to make sure I just stay within a certain bound and everything. I have a nice washable pencil, of watercolor pencil. I'm just going to bound it that way and put that there. Bound it that way because I can always trim off that excess and square it back up once I'm done. So I now have this strip that I know I need to stay within. And I am going to take my first signature. You're going to open it up to the middle. That's not the middle. That's not the middle either. Blow out any dust that may have gotten in there. You're going to go from back because I'm going outside in. Pull through. Just remember, be gentle. It's paper. Leave a little tail for now until you can get started. Pull it through right there. And you have so. However, I forgot I'm sewing on my cover. So, nice. Love it when that happens. But because I am sewing on my cover, I kind of want to center that up and make a mark there, 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 and there. So what I did was I lined up my holes with my leather so I knew where I need to be punching. And we're going to there, 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 and there. All right. Want it more towards the center. Push that through. I am being dinged. Why am I being dinged? No. Not applicable for right now. Ugh. Eat with it. Because again, it's leather and you're not pre-punching it. And you can leave your tail, open your signature back up, put your needle back through. Be gentle, because like for instance, I just poked through not my pre-made hole. Sometimes it will want to be just rudely uncooperative. Bear with it. Once that is done, I recommend grabbing your tail and lining that up to about lining up there. First one's always the hardest. And then you can kind of get that through. So now it's looking right through there. And be careful, don't bleed on your book. All right, adjustments. I totally use my teeth.
I am totally judging you because I can feel how much that hurts.
All right. Renee just totally messaged me, like, was like, well, is your class still going? Yes. I should message her and tell her to come and find out. Okay, so when it comes to cross hatching, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can literally just, that's what I want, crisscross. There is an easier method for people who are just starting out, because this is a fairly simple beginner's one. I'm gonna do it. It's basically, we're gonna take it just straight up and through. And we're gonna punch a hole on this side. So that way you know where you're going and you kind of already have that hole pre-punched. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Give me the needle. There we go. Going somewhere?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Liquor store.
Okay. We're gonna go try to find that brandy. Ah, you find that brandy.
We need to make those good lines. We'll be back.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
I love y'all too. I love the audience. Gosh, my sister-in-law's over there like, I love you too. Feeling y'all's love. Pull it back through, push it back, and punch. And again, fight with your leather because your needle does not want to pull through. Try not to stab yourself in the mouth if you do that. Please be careful. So you have, I can't see where I am on my camera. There we go. You have your first signature sewn in. You're going to repeat this. After pulling taut, you don't want to pull too tight, just pull it taut. We're going to just go in fairly close. You still want to give it some room for each signature. And go on through. There we go. Oops. Pay attention to where you're putting it through. Try not to put it through your paper like I just did. Try not to stab yourself. Fight with your needle. Rinse, repeat. Maybe cuss at your needle. Sometimes they just need to be like smacked into submission. I'm lying, of course. You should always be nice to your crafting supplies. They talk. And then your other crafting supplies will totally not be nice to you anymore. You don't want that. New signature. We go in, be careful. Pull through, go in, and make sure you're fairly lined up. Fight with it yet again because it's sassy and it is a brat. Urgh. I will feed you to my dogs. See, sometimes you just gotta beat me to it. All right, so we are going to pull that second signature a little taut in there, so it is kind of in place. So pull it taut, there we go. And this is where we kind of can do the cheater method. So we kind of wanted to have that crisscross, so you can sit there, take it under, pull it, and you can do 1, you can do 2, and with the tension that it will pull, it will kind of give it that V. I'm just gonna do 1 because that will just make it nice and simple. Remember, make sure where you're putting through so you don't stab your paper like I did whenever I was putting that back through. Fight with it, rinse, repeat. Cuss at it, whatever you need to do. Right out. And then, you know, you need upset whenever it stabs you and tries to make you pay blood for the blood gods. Use your teeth, whatever you got to do. Just try not to hurt yourself. Don't break your teeth, whatever. Now, because you have had it wrap around there, it is going to be a little more harder to pull it snug. So you will have to kind of it. Kind of like if you're releasing out the corset. My stomach is growling because it knows it's lunchtime. So if you can hear it growling, just ignore it. Pull it through. Be sad when it stabs you again and betrays you. So this is one of the things that I mentioned earlier with black leather. It is dyed, and because it has not been washed, you will get dirty. You will turn your pages dirty. But like I said, this is what I had working with. I do highly recommend, if you are working with dyed leather, washing it first. If you do not know how to wash it, you should look it up because there are particular soaps that you should be using with leather. It keeps it from drying out. Son of a. All right. Once you get through on your second one, you're going to sit there and do a tie, but it is not a normal tie if you're using wax string, because wax string will come out with normal ties. You're going to use a tension knot where you sit there, wrap it under, and instead of just bringing it through the loop once, you're going to bring it through 2, 3, 4 times. This will help ensure that the knot stays nice and taut. And then we're going to go through again. Curse at it because you're having to punch through it and it's being difficult. Again, if you calculated everything out at the beginning, punched it through with all, you would have such an easier time. But I am handling a ton of stuff right now and I didn't think to do that. Threaten it, tell it to be nice, do what you need to do to make the leather cooperate. Signature, needle, rinse, repeat. Again, pay attention to where you're putting it through, because yet again, I put it through the paper. If you are doing it correctly, whenever you put your needle through, you shouldn't have to force it because you made those holes with the awl and everything. So if you're trying to have to apply pressure, wiggle it through the paper, you are probably not putting it through holes that you have already pre-made. All right, so we are coming up to the spine. And because we are doing the wrap and everything method, we are just going to single once. You want to make sure it's not up here where the twist has already happened. And so as it goes through, it'll kind of do this nice little fancy crisscross accordion look. Punch, pull, wrestle, curse. Rinse and repeat. Erg. Oh. I showered this morning and now my hair is curling on me like I am trying to be Merida from Brave. It needs to tell itself to calm the heck down. See, that time went through like butter. I didn't have to force it because I made it go through the correct hole. By pure luck. I totally didn't like make it. Your crafting projects, if you have not discovered this already, will have a mind of their own. And they will be obstinate little brats when they want to be. I am just going to stop at the 3 signatures because I am fully aware that I am like over by 17 minutes on my time. But this kind of gives you an idea of the crisscross. It's literally the same thing. Rinse, repeat, stab. Try not to stab yourself. Pull it through. The only thing that's left to show is, so we have the first stitch where it came through up at the top, or not where it's been tied. At each section, bottom and top, when you come back through, you're going to want to loop through, pull it, and do that. I know there's a name for the stitch, but yeah, no, my brain's not here right now. This is basically second nature for me. So you'll do that. You'll put it back through, and when you come to the next signature, you will repeat for the same. You'll do this at both the top and the bottom. Because we have already pulled through up at the top, try not to pull your needle back through. You don't want it to come through too close, but you'll bring it somewhat. Okay. If you notice, I have some slack. If you want a little bit of slack, you can. I recommend them being somewhat taut. So this is where you're going to go to where you have your little fishtail end. You're going to go through, and just like if you're releasing a corset, pull, pull, next signature, pull, pull. And like the more signatures you add, you're going to have to do this a lot more regularly. And everything, because the tension will get loosened and whatnot. And then just be gentle because it is paper, it will tear. But now it's nice and taut, not as taut as I would like it. There we go. Nice and taut. And then you're basically going to pull it back through. You have your nice little stitches right there, and you're going to kind of wind it through on these. You can tie it once you're at the end and whatnot. You can just weave it through a couple of times. It's really a preference on how permanent you want it to be. I will usually, once I get through to the other side, bring it back through underneath, and same thing like I did on the beginning, bring it through like a normal, but then you're going to want to bring it through once or even twice more. It acts as a tension knot with the wax. And then you can snip. If you do have a nice glue, you can even sit there, like splay that out to glue it down and everything, and that'll just hold it even more secure. And then we will snip And now you have a fairly beginner. Mine is fairly dirty because it's black on the ink, but you have a fairly nice beginner. Makes a nice sketch pad, a journal. I actually have, I wish I knew where they were, a collection of these, one in each color for the sashes for Ant Guard. I should probably eventually enter that into ANS, but you know what? I probably won't. Where it is literally each class, the details about them. I made them look all nice. I illustrated them. Put in their spells if they have spells and everything. And so I have like what 7, 8, 9, 9. I think I have 9 little color coded books. So it's like, oh, I'm playing Monster today. And it's nice, it's flexible, it'll fit in my pocket. This will probably either become a sketch pad for myself or like a nice little note-taking book. You can sit there and you can take buttons or grommets and sit there and make a hole, punch, or a tie. If you have the excess little flap, it gets really nice. Try not to throw your tools. But yeah. Since this is black and it's gonna dirty the pages and everything, it will probably just become a little note scribble book for me. And yeah, that is a soft book being made. If you have any questions, you can always feel free. I will probably end up doing my next class on hard book making. I do both. Gosh, my hands are so dirty. I am Aleonna on Amcard here at Skywatch in the Golden Plains. On Facebook, you can find me under Stephanie Stannard, STANNARD. Or you can just harass some of the ANSers in Golden Plains. Chances are one of them knows me. So if you have questions, hit me up. And everything. Doing hardbound books is a whole lot more complicated. I will warn y'all on that. But it is fun. I have an entire contraption to help me compress because I have one book that I've made that's like 5 times this size, and it sits there and it helps. But yeah, I love bookmaking. It's something I'm super passionate about. If I could do it as a career, I would, but alas, we are just no longer in those days.
Very cool though. I like it a lot. Thank you very much. I'm gonna stop
problem.
now. Okay.
Go eat.